I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land on which we stand. I would also like to pay my respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to other Aboriginal people or Torres Strait Islanders listening today. Hi, my name's Sharon Elves. I'm from West Vic PHN, and today I wanted to talk to you briefly on how to create and submit a successful referral to Western Victoria PHN's commissioned mental health services. This form is arranged in sections to gather patient eligibility criteria that facilitates prompt allocation of eligible referrals to the service providers, as well as provide the minimum Commonwealth dataset requirements required by primary health services, commissioned by Commonwealth funding. So a referral allocation to West Vic PHN commissioned mental health services require the submission of a completed information of all relevant sections of a referral form. I thought I would do a clip in MedicalDirector so doctors are familiar with what needs to be filled and supplied so forms don't get sent back for completion. I'm going to go into MedicalDirector. Okay, so I've chosen a patient. Today we're going to look after Miss Samantha Test. So the first thing we need to do is go to the patient's file, which is opened. We need to go into Tools, Letter Writer, File, Modify Template, find the template that we're searching for, which is just here, the Primary Mental Health Referral. So I'll double click on that, and that will bring it up in the form that we need to under the patient's name. Okay, so the start of the form lists all the services that you can refer to. It's really important to only select one service. If you select more than one service, it will prolong the process as it will go back to the GP for clarification. So today I'm just going to select Psychological Therapy Services General. So I'll just pop that across in there. Okay, if we scroll down a bit further, the next section that we need to fill in this part, and it's a patient demographics. So the completion of the checkboxes below is mandatory requirement to assess the eligibility of this patient to receive the free service. Please complete all checkboxes corresponding to the service that you have selected above. If the patient does not meet all the eligibility requirements for the service, please refer to Medicare rebated service. So above, we did select Psychological Therapy Services General. So here, this is where we can put in the checkboxes. So patient is unable to access Medicare. So we'll just pop that there. Patient has not accessed Medicare, so I'll pop in across here in current calendar year. If patient is 12 to 24 years old, confirm unsuitable for headspace. So that doesn't, our patient Samantha, she's in her 50s. We don't need to worry about that one. The patient has healthcare and concession card, so I'll put across here. And if you can supply the concession card number, that will, I suppose, speed up the process a bit too. You have to put in the mental health treatment plan, so we'll put across near that. And you need to put in a K10 as well, so I will put across there. So we can scroll down further. So here is the patient's details. In MedicalDirector, this can all be inserted from the patient's file, which will make it a lot easier for the GP rather than having to fill it all in again. So that's really useful. Also on the top here, it's written really important that you answer this question, and that the question is, has this presentation been triggered by the 2019-2020 bushfires? So I'm going to put no here. So the next section is the socio-economic section for the patient. So you need to go through all these questions and just fill in everything that is required. So I will keep scrolling down as that's just questions that you need to ask the patient. The next part here is clinical details. So the diagnosis, any other additional diagnoses for the patient, the doctor can go through that. So if you have not put in a suicide prevention referral, you don't need to actually fill in this section. But if you have, it's very important that all this gets filled in. The other really important section below is consent. The patient must consent. Please make sure that you put crosses next to the consent. If you're faxing this referral, it's really important that the GP signs this form, and here's a section to do so. If this referral is being sent by secure messaging, then that's fine. The doctor doesn't need to sign it. So if we keep going down below, the doctor then must fill in a K10. This is really important, and then pop in a score. Just a reminder that you need to enter a principal diagnosis for this referral. You can opt to put in a secondary diagnosis if there is one. A mental health treatment plan needs to be attached. You can cut and copy this out of the patient file. So that goes there. The mental health plan does not specifically need to be done on the day. It can be one that has been done 11 months prior or earlier. So just a reminder that the consent section is extremely important. The doctor needs to speak to the patient and get consent verbally and then put in the crosses. Just a reminder too that K10 needs to be done with the patient answered accordingly, as it is a Commonwealth requirement for all clients receiving services through West Vic Commissioning Mental Health Services. Thank you so much for listening.